Cyborg was cool with his thing with his dad, and the cube somehow had something to do with his power or something.
Go check out the Horror, Philosophy, and Culture podcast Scary Thoughts. Co-hosts Mark Cate and Chad Locke cover classic and auteur horror films, going deep while keeping the conversation light. To listen, go over to iTunes, Stitcher, or YouTube, or wherever you receive your dark sermons from the cursed minds of the damned.
This week we got the Justice League Spectacular. News of the week. We got Mario movie in the works. Jake Gyllenhaal rumored to replace Affleck as Batman. Rumor.
And not Ryan Gosling.
Not Ryan Gosling. Amazon developing a Lord of the Rings TV show. Could be awesome. Could not be awesome. GameStop rental service drama. And Battlefront 2 at .8.
Drama llama.
Drama llama.
What's up, everybody?
What's up?
It kills me every time.
Comically Gaming, episode 79. Thank you for joining us. It's our Justice League Spectacular. How's everybody's week? Dirk, how'd you do this week?
Oh, man. What? I did pretty good this week at life. Not a whole lot. Let's see. I'll get the comic book and game stuff out of the way. I'm still reading Descender Volume 2. I think I just wrapped it up. I actually started playing Persona again this week. That's why I was hitting Nate up actually with questions on tactics to use when I was in battle and stuff. And,
do you love it?
Did you figure it out?
I love it.
Chat channel.
I just love every minute of it.
Yes. It almost has a rhythm to it that you have to fight a few battles and get into those what are they called? Castles? I don't know what palaces.
Yep.
Yeah. So after you fight a few and you're kind of searching around and stuff and there's a rhythm in the game where you can sort of just kind of get lost in it, which I totally do.
I love it. It takes what traditionally was, it's what coined the term grind and makes it fun. It doesn't feel like grind at all.
Yeah.
It feels awesome.
You know what it is too? I think that contributes to how it makes it so seamless is that it's so fast. The dialogue and everything and the animations always there's a slight twist every time, it feels like. That keeps you sort of interested. It's like for our little, our attention-starved brains that we've got as humans today with everything. It feels like it's that quick pace that, that's cool. The other thing is I went to Renfest yesterday.
Nice.
Renaissance Fest.
How was it?
It was fantastic as always. That's why I sound like a death right now.
Were you yelling huzzah a lot?
Well, we got there at 11:30, I guess, a.m. and stayed there till about 5:30, 6 o'clock. And it's just a good time, man. I dig it, and I think we might start doing a yearly thing there. Just those games are awesome. You got archery, you got crossbow shooting, you got hammer throwing, you got jousting.
Mm-hmm.
Do
sweet.
they?
I've never been to one.
They're fun.
I
like
gotta
them.
say, in Minnesota and here in Colorado, it's like a permanent location with real buildings that all have a medieval feel to them and whatnot. Like in Detroit, it was not like that. It was like people come in and throw up tents and whatnot. Is it like that
Right.
in Louisiana?
No, there's some. Well, actually, we got flooded last year. Well, 2016, they got flooded in that big flood that hit Baton Rouge and Denham Springs. So they had to rebuild some structures, but they do have standing, structures that are there all year. But yeah, man, it's just fun. You drink some, you have some beers or some whiskeys, eat some. I had some gator on a stick, which was
Nice.
awesome. they actually mix in like, so you have your typical fair food, which is great, like the turkey legs and all that, but then they mix in like,
Local stuff.
Louisiana stuff. Yeah, so we had like the gator on a stick and etouffee and that kind of stuff. It's just awesome. It's awesome to see little kids getting into it,
Yeah.
acting their roles out. Like kids excited to be elves and stuff, like with the ears and with the full garb. I could feel like D&D is having a moment, and it's probably connected a little bit to that. So
Did you see any stormtroopers?
I did not see any stormtroopers.
I
The
saw-
time
I have a
traveler
picture.
weekend is next weekend, I think.
I have a picture of a stormtrooper at our Renfest.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Well, we do have a time traveler weekend, I
Oh,
guess. Where this weekend was Celtic, which was
Oh, yeah, those are always
Yeah.
fun. I
my
like Celtic
favorite of
weeks.
it. And that's my week.
All right, Jeff.
All right, this week I'll go fast because I did a lot. I bought on a whim Battlefront 2, beat the campaign in about 6 hours.
So don't
Love
go
the
fast. Slow down. Breaks.
I-
Breaks. How was
I-
it?
I liked the campaign. I did like the campaign. It is a cookie cutter story with the Star Wars universe, kind of. I won't get into spoilers, but the campaign lets you play every aspect of the game and be part of the Star Wars universe through a lot of the characters you end up playing, the missions you do, flying some of the ships. It was like, this is what we're looking for in a full-scale single-player game and not just 6 hours. But it was really good.
What I had heard from a couple different of the podcasts that I listened to this week was that it felt like a little bit like they took the multiplayer maps and said, make a story for these. Like,
Yeah.
did you feel like that?
Yeah, there was a little bit. There was a little bit of revisiting the original trilogy, being on Endor, being on Bespin. There was a little bit of Last Jedi thrown in there from the trailers we've watched.
Yeah.
And they even revisited Naboo at one point. So, yeah, I guess I could see that. I didn't really look at it that way when I was playing it because I was just engrossed in the story and following the characters. And they did a great job with the motion capture and CGI over the actual actors and actresses. So it made it more realistic. You saw a lot more facial features and expressions than you normally don't see in other games.
All right, you convinced me.
I played some of the multiplayer, and it's not bad. They did change the
got it on
space
sale.
combat. They did change space combat from the original one. So it takes some getting used to, and I had to change the controllers to how I used to play because I didn't like the new controller mapping. But no, I'll play some of the multiplayer. It wasn't as bad as the multiplayer in Battlefront, the first one. It wasn't getting sniped like from somebody you didn't even see. So I like
the beta with us, right?
no, I
Is
didn't.
it
I was
just
in
like
Vegas.
Oh, okay.
I missed out. I was in
Right.
Vegas. So I started playing also Last of Us. I finally picked that up, started playing that. Not very far into it. I'm still trying to get the little girl. That's as far as I got. Trying to get the little girl out
Right.
Yeah.
of the city.
A little
So-
girl.
I do like it.
Little girl.
And not his daughter. Not
No,
what's
we
his
know,
name's
we
daughter.
know, we know.
Okay.
Is her name Ellie?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
I played
alright.
it for like 3 hours.
Ellen Page.
And then I bought Call of Duty. I'm playing through the campaign with there. Sort of, I don't know.
Codwee.
COD World War II. I'm not feeling the campaign because you can only do the World War II battles so much, and
Yeah.
I don't like the script so far of it because I'm like, no, they wouldn't talk like this back in that time, and it's just,
Yeah.
it's
For
kind of
me-
lackluster.
I've seen it. I saw it this week in a couple of customers' homes where people were playing it, and I actually am more excited to check it out than I have been
I
for
wanted to
COD.
check
in a
it
long
out.
time.
campaign
I
or
thought
the
it looked pretty
multiplayer?
good.
The
It
campaign
was
and
all
multiplayer.
multiplayer. Yeah, it was all multiplayer.
Yeah, I didn't do multiplayer yet
Right.
because I have limited time.
Is it fun though? I mean, I
Yeah,
just
it's
like the feel of COD. It just feels like a really good shooter.
It does feel
I
good.
like
The
it a lot
guns-
more than Battlefield.
The guns feel better than Battlefield.
Right.
The inaccuracies are in there, which I like for the weapons of the time. What else did I do? Fuck me. I went to Justice League, and
Golf.
I did EG, yeah, and not looking
Best
forward to
score.
Imperial Guard.
That's your best score yet.
It is my
You gotta
best.
trumpet
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Beat me.
Yeah.
You beat Corey.
Yeah, first time beating Corey. That's for sure.
Corey's still in
Everybody
third
beat
place,
me.
though.
Yeah, still third. I still beat Vanessa. I wasn't last place.
All right.
All right, so my
And
week.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry to interrupt.
That's
My
okay.
week, again, started off with, as it always does, as it will as soon as we're done here, with Gran Turismo.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Continues to be awesome. Gonna
Almost there,
continue
man.
playing that every week until people that play along with me are sick of it. Beat everybody's golf. Made the credits roll.
Yeah!
Finally. So
I
did that
happy
too.
about that. That's quite the
I beat
grind.
the characters. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. I beat all the characters in the gallery after
nice.
the last chapter or whatever. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Saga, chapter 11, 12, 13,
Yo.
and 14. So
Yeah.
Saga, it's the greatest ever, right?
best.
Yeah,
So
it is.
awesome. What
best.
I've gotten to at this point is where again, no spoilers, but all of the antagonists you like them.
Right.
Like they all have
Yes.
stuff going
Yeah.
on that makes them likable
Human.
too. Yeah,
Humanized,
right,
yeah.
That's awesome about it.
So awesome.
Like even the worst people in it, you still really like them.
Right.
It's,
Right.
yeah.
Yep. Exactly. In the end of one of those collections was Paper Girls #1. So
Yeah.
read that, and I think I'll start checking that out once I'm done
Shit,
with
Paper
Saga.
Girls is
It's really good.
That's what I've heard. I got current on the Walking Dead TV shows finally. I think they continue to be good too.
Shitballs.
They did say shitballs, which is a big line from Ghost Recon that we've been saying forever.
I
Yeah,
was cracking up. It's the first
Yeah.
time I've heard it outside of the game.
yeah, it was funny. But continues to be good. I'm down for sure. I want to throw out a podcast that I've been listening to for a while back. I was telling
Oh.
everybody that they should listen to Tannis, or I'm not Tannis, Rabbits. A really cool like fictional show that's told week after week. Because I finished up Rabbits, I went back and listened to these people's previous podcast. It was just called Tannis. And it's just as good. A really cool kind of sci-fi mystery story where you unlock the pieces show after show. I'd suggest it to anybody. Rabbits and Tannis, and check them out.
Rabbits
sometimes.
and
They're-
Tannis.
Yeah, they're both really good shows. Watched Robert Kirkman's Secret History of Comics.
Man, my
the first
DVR
one.
messed up.
It's terrible. It's
Really?
awful,
Oh,
and
then I don't
I
feel
will
bad.
not be watching another one. I was shocked. So, Kirkman isn't in it at all. It's
What?
he must have and he's not a director either. So when the credits rolled, it didn't have his name for anything, but it is called Robert Kirkman's Secret History of Comics. So I'm not quite sure. It was the most generic, boring documentary I'd ever seen. It was
Wow.
like watching. It was terrible. It was really terrible. The first episode it showed it was the story of Stan Lee and who's
Jack
the artist?
Kirby.
Yeah, Kirby.
Kirby.
And if you didn't know that story, it would be cool to
Right.
to hear the story. But I already knew the story, and
Ah.
it just was totally boring. The guests who like talked like the comic historians were totally lame, terrible. I will not watch another one. And then finally, getting hardcore on Near Automata. It's
Oh.
yeah, really great.
Stories.
Yes, and I've heard that it was a sleeper hit all year long, and I gotta agree, it's got just enough kind of weird Japanese RPG in it to be cool, but the characters are awesome, and just another story of artificial intelligence and how
Yeah.
it plays out, but this does it in a unique way.
Oh man, wait till your third playthrough.
Yeah, I can't wait. I really can't wait. And kind of weird. I guess I don't want to go into spoilers. I'll have to talk to Corey about it later. I'm a little weird with
Yeah.
the sexuality stuff that I kind of want to talk through a little
Did you
bit.
self-destruct yet?
I think a couple times, I think.
Or you hold down both the sticks?
Oh, no, I didn't cause it. No.
Self-destruct.
Okay, all right. I'll give it a shot.
That's
for
a
sure.
little self-destruct.
All right, that's my week. Corey.
All right. I didn't play much games. I played this stuff that we've all talked about. Everybody's Golf, Gran Turismo. Played some more Golf Story. Played. Nate said that the Hate to Full Boyfriend was supposed to be good. The pigeon dating simulator. So I played that for about 5 minutes today until I realized that I was a girl pigeon and I'm trying to find the boyfriend pigeons. And then I was like, oh, fuck this. Like, I thought I was at least going to be picking up lady pigeons.
Yeah.
And not the case. So
You can't hang? You saying you can hang?
No, done
You're
with
already
that.
role-playing a pigeon. You can't role-play a female pigeon?
No.
You
Okay,
pick females all the time, Corey.
Yeah, but not looking for potential male
hot
pigeon
potato?
boyfriend.
Hot pigeon. What's wrong with hot male pigeon searching? I don't get it.
Where I draw the line. It was a free game a while back. I saw it in my library and I was asking Nate what it was. I didn't even know what it was.
I need to get that.
Yeah, it probably costs money now. I wouldn't recommend spending money on it, but
But if you have PlayStation Plus, you need to add that shit to your library every single month.
Yeah.
You're silly if you don't, because then you'll have it free forever.
I guess I could just try to add like a random game, or you have.
No.
Are you doing recommendations of which ones?
No, every month
do?
they give out so many games for free. All you gotta do is go to the website and click buy on them, and they're
You
all
do
free.
all of them though?
Every month. I do.
yeah,
every
you don't have
single
to
month.
download them.
You don't download them.
You'll just always be able to download them for free.
Right.
If you do that.
Right.
So if you ever want to go back and check them out, you'll have them there. But I really don't. I don't think I played much else. I played some Mario Kart. My buddy came over today after we went and saw Justice League. Whooped my ass in Mario Kart like 10 times in a row. But he's like the best Mario Kart player of all time. Pisses me off. But I read Evolution #1. That was really good. That's a new Image book about evolution. About people like are suddenly evolving millions of years overnight. They're like half of them think they're monsters and stuff, and the artwork's really crazy. It's kind of like a horror, science fiction, weird book, and that like real sketchy artwork, like not like straight lines, like it's but really good. Really like that. There were a couple of new releases that came out. What was the other one? Oh, Maestro's #2. I told you guys to read that.
I haven't started it yet, but I got it.
#2 is just as good. Really awesome. That's awesome. I think that's going to be one of my favorite books. And then
Pick of the week.
And then,
Pick of the week?
Yeah, I have to do that.
Read it tonight.
The Realm 3 came out. I didn't have a chance to read that. But
yeah, I saw that.
I've been grinding away at Why? Yeah.
Oh, right.
I'm almost there. I'm at issue 48 out of 60 now.
Get ready, dude.
Get
Get
the
ready.
tissues. Just
Get ready.
Just hold on to them.
Yeah, loving it though. It's so good.
It's gonna hit you like a freaking ton of bricks, too.
Yeah.
You'll be like,
can't wait. But
we're gonna have to talk full spoilers on.
yeah,
why.
Jeff should have been in on that, but
Yeah.
you know, to even out.
So TV show, right? On FX, same channel that does Legion.
Yeah.
All about
yeah.
that.
Ready for it.
So ready. Yeah.
Oh man, absolutely.
Sure.
Hey, wait, is that going to be the first of his works on TV? Brian K. Vaughan? Right.
I know of.
Yeah,
Wait,
I think.
did he do the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
No, that's Alan Moore.
Oh, he did? That was Alan
Yeah.
Moore? Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Brian K. Vaughan, I think it's going to be his first work on TV, so that's awesome.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Hopefully it's good. Watch The Walking Dead, and then I watched. Yeah, shitballs. And then I got Amazon Prime. I got Amazon Prime last week, and so I was looking at some of the good stuff. Like there's some
Mr.
websites.
Robot.
Yeah, Mr. Robot. Is on Amazon Prime.
Wait,
have
have
not
they,
on Netflix.
Jeff, have y'all watched it?
I
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, man. At least, Corey, have you started season 2?
No, I just before we started filming today, I finished season 1. So
Man, first season, just that one season is awesome.
So
Awesome.
good. Yeah, I mean, like there's kind of like 2 halves to the first season.
Yeah.
And both of, I mean, it gets so fucking crazy in the end, and it's a really, really good show. I've heard people saying that, all along, it's about this hacker guy with
Morphine problems.
with morphine problems, mental illness, but just really good. Everybody, really good acting, really awesome story. Just really good. So that it has season 2 on Amazon.
Yeah,
so
we're
I'm gonna
about to
watch
start
that.
Yeah.
I think season 3's out, but you gotta pay for it or have cable, which I don't. So we'll see.
Gotcha.
Y'all
yeah,
should check it out.
Yeah.
All right. I'll put it on the
Sweet.
list. I got to finish Preacher still first.
Oh, my God.
All right. That's our week.
Get out of here. This week, number 5, Mario movie in the works by the
Jeff.
creators of the Minions movies.
Directed by Jeff Schreiner.
So, you guys don't have kids. Jeff, your kids watch any of these Despicable Me and Minions and stuff like that?
A little bit. Look, my son's not really into it yet. He
So
No,
Reading
I've
that
seen
player's handbook,
I've
that's
seen
why.
I've been
I've
forced
seen
to.
Despicable Me and I've seen the Minions.
Yeah, they're not that good. Like
No.
to
Yeah,
my
Despicable
mind-
Me was alright. I thought the Minions was terrible.
Yeah, and like I like things. I like my kids' shows to have adult humor in them.
Yeah.
Stuff like Shrek was
Yeah.
entertaining for me to go watch. Some of the Pixar stuff, so not my first pick, but clearly the Nintendo has signed a deal with Universal, right? They're doing
Yeah.
theme parks and whatnot too, so it's the pick that's going to them. I hope that this is better.
Yeah,
I don't
buddy.
know.
I'm going to watch it.
I'm not a big fan of the Minions of the movie.
No, I'm not either, but I'm going to watch that Mario movie.
So
I remember the
Then-
cartoon and the show.
number 4, Jake Gyllenhaal replacing Ben Affleck as
Possible.
the Batman. Rumor.
Yeah, rumor.
I don't know how to feel about that because I like Jake Gyllenhaal in Battle and Blade Runner 2049.
I
Is
agree.
he in it?
I don't know if I can see him as a Batman.
I
don't know.
can see it. I like it.
I-
I
I
think
was-
it's a good
wait.
pick.
I was looking
Jake
at the movies.
Gyllenhaal
I
was
don't
in
He
know.
can't be worse.
Hold
Yeah,
on a
he's in
second. What was he in Blade Runner?
2049, the new one.
What was the character? I mean,
He
who
was
did
the main
play?
character.
No, that's not Jake Gyllenhaal.
No?
No,
No.
Oh,
What am I thinking of?
it was who is that? It's
Jake Gyllenhaal was in the Prince of Persia
Jarhead.
and Jarhead. Yeah.
Oh.
who's
Y'all thinking of Ryan Gosling.
Gosling? Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
I get him confused. So
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal was
You were
in
thinking of
yeah.
too, Nick?
What?
Were you thinking of Ryan Gosling too?
No, I
Oh.
seen. I went and looked at a bunch of pictures of Jake, and I see it. I think it's got to be kind of like what's his name, Bale. It's got to be that
Yeah.
type of Batman, right?
I think he can do it.
But I like that. The Affleck meathead Batman.
Affleck.
Affleck.
He was great in
You know.
Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, it just doesn't
Yeah.
do it for me.
Oh, how weird would that be? So Heath Ledger was in Brokeback Mountain,
Oh, that's true.
right?
Yeah.
That would be so
Yeah,
crazy.
that was the two of them. Yep. All right, move on.
Yep.
Keep the show moving.
Amazon.
Yes.
Now I got it. I'm hyped for this Lord of the Ring TV show.
I'm totally hyped.
I'm
be
as
I
hyped
don't care
as
what
can be.
people say online.
So they said multiple season deal, and the show is going to be prequel.
Prequel to The Hobbit or prequel to Lord of the Rings?
Prequel to the Lord of the Rings is what they said in
That's
the
The
articles I
Hobbit.
read.
There's so much content there to pull from.
Yeah.
I
There
mean,
is.
come on.
Yep.
The
There.
Silmarillion, you got the
Yeah.
whole thing.
That's what I was thinking. Silmarillion.
I mean, and you'd assume we've talked about this before, but Game of Thrones has taken the fantasy stories and brought them
High
to
fantasy,
the
yeah.
mainstream, right?
Yeah.
And so let's go back to the origin with the Lord of the Rings. Hopefully
Right.
they put money into this and make it awesome.
And there's going to be a vacuum of Game of Thrones, except for the spin-offs, I guess. People are going to be looking, what do I watch next?
Yep.
So, I
Bring
think
it
it's
once again. Another Amazon show. Every week it seems like we talk about an
dude.
Amazon show that's in the works that
Lazarus-
we're looking forward to.
Yes. Lazarus gives me a boner every time I think about it. Absolutely.
Wow.
Remind me not to touch their keyboard.
All right. Number 2. GameStop rental service we covered last week canceled. Well,
If you
postponed.
recall,
Oh,
last week we started the conversation off by saying this is too good to be true.
yeah, we did.
It was.
Definitely
It
did.
absolutely was.
For sure.
Yeah, supposedly their POS systems can't handle it.
I think it happened the next day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After the show.
It was literally less than 24 hours after we
It was
recorded it.
before the show was posted.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
before the show
Yeah.
was posted.
Right.
Yeah, so the point of sale, if they are not lying and it's about the point of sale thing, then it'll come, right? They just somebody's got to write the code and make it work. I think there's a chance that somebody was like, "Wait, what? What did we say we were gonna do?"
Right.
Somebody, one of the bean counters was like, "Wait, this doesn't make any sense."
It's like waking up the next day after a wild
It almost
party.
sounds like marketing decided on this to push it out right before Black Friday
Right.
because it was going to generate a whole bunch of revenue on Black Friday, and then they went to their IT department and app dev and said, "Hey, we want to do this," and they're like, "When do you want to be done by?" And they're like, "This," and they're like, "No."
Right. Well, I hope that's the case because then that means it'll still happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Wanna do it.
Yep.
Do it, GameStop.
Do it.
Number 1, Battlefront 2,
Drama.
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 It's at, I think
Baby
it's
mama
at
drama.
points. Last I checked, it was 0.8 user score on Metacritic.
I thought that
Wow.
was a typo.
No, it was.
No,
I
it
looked
was-
again today. It was still 0.8.
0.8.
Wow.
Oh, that's
It
not
also
bad.
had the most downvoted Reddit comic or comment
history?
in the history of Reddit.
Yeah.
How much of that is people just jumping on though, like
But they
Well,
deserved,
gang tackle,
they deserved it.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right?
No, I don't. Yeah, I
It
totally
deserved
agree
it.
with that.
And, I think that I was thinking about this because you have to appease the people that pre-ordered the game, and that's why you'll run into people that have purple cards, but when you make it a play to win, and if it's true that Disney pressured them,
Well, so
which I could see.
that was all the story last week. So since last week, EA came out and said, "We heard you." Right,
Mhm.
and then
We
they turned
heard you.
off microtransactions.
Yeah.
They said to be brought back at a future date after we adjust the game or whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, Jeff. Have you played much multiplayer? What do you think?
I played around, and I played one round of multiplayer after I beat the campaign, and it's different. I wasn't knowing what to expect, but
What was your KD?
Shitty. So, because I just did a random join, and so I joined a Galactic Conquest, so I was fighting against clone troopers as one of the separatist robots. Roger. And so you were supposed to stop a Republic Star Destroyer from taking off. I figured this out near the end of it. But as you go through and you get kills and you do stuff, you get battle points, and then when you die and you go to your respawn, you can actually use those battle points to unlock like a vulture fighter, or unlock a super battle droid, or unlock one of those massive tanks, which the tank I jumped into, I got owned in about 5 seconds because I couldn't see who was targeting me. But it's really different from the original Battlefront. I didn't play the beta, so I can't compare it to what beta was like.
Oh, okay.
But
so, my one question, maybe you don't know the answer to this because you haven't played enough yet, but my question, having played a good amount of the original Battlefront, is that they talk about how long it takes to unlock the heroes in this game. Yeah. That's what, I guess EA turned that down 75% because people said it would take 40 hours to unlock Luke or Vader or whatnot. Now, in the original game, you just went to one of those little hero icons and then you picked what hero you were, and you were a hero. Do you not have an option to be a hero until you unlock them, or how's that work?
Yeah, you do have to unlock them, and a lot of it, you play through the campaign, you unlock a couple of the heroes already, and it's just a smattering of different heroes. But when I was playing last night, someone was playing Vader, but it's not heavy-handed. I think that they toned down how long it takes to unlock, and it's more of the unlock. It's going to take longer to grind out unlocks for the card upgrades and stuff like that. So if you're really shitty at console first-person shooters like this guy, it's going to take me forever to do it. But I don't know. I didn't see, there wasn't some overzealous, heroes like the same, 3 Darth Vaders running across the battlefield and just owning everybody. Right, yeah, it was still limited, but they made it easier to unlock those. But there's so much to unlock. It's just, you look at the screen, the career screen, and of the different 4 different categories you can play, like assault, heavy support, and the 2 other ones. Plus, then there's unlocks for all the heroes, and it's a lot to unlock. And I think that's where you're paying to buy like crystals to just unlock it.
Right.
And to buy crates.
Right. And I've heard in the crates that you get a lot of duplicates and stuff, which are pissing people off because they're not unlocking fresh content because they're getting duplicate stuff. Like, to me, it seems like, based on how the first game was, and then what I have to compare this to, I don't play a lot of COD, so I don't really know how COD works. But in Destiny, when you play PvP, everybody's even. We just bought in the sale this week Overwatch. Mm-hmm. You pop in Overwatch, everyone's even.
And the only unlocks you get is cosmetic.
Yeah. Right? So it's to me, that's what makes this stupid, is that if everybody's not even in a multiplayer PvP shooter,
just be a mess. And not fun.
It's like it's not fun to unlock stuff then if you're just getting owned over and over again.
Well, COD you would unlock better weapons as you played, but I really stopped playing a lot of COD back after COD 4, because that was on the PC. That was when Modern Warfare 2 came out. That's when EA changed it so there was no player dedicated servers to play on. You had to play on EA servers, and I used to play on a server that we had our own rules. We could kick people for being asshats, and we'd regulate our own. And so it's fine. I do wish that they would go the Overwatch model. I like Overwatch because I can play characters where I don't have to aim for shit. I can just heal everybody and get like in that area.
Plus, you said? Maybe?
Corey, you got anything on this topic?
Not really.
Same old. Derek?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'll play the campaign, but I'm not going to buy that shit at the price it's at right now. How much is it?
60.
60. I mean,
yeah,
normal.
Just
All right.
Well,
It's crazy. Hey,
I'd like to
get
try
all
out
those pay to
multiplayer.
play people a different console too. Just go, get them a separate fucking console that they can all play on together. It's not fair.
All right. That's been the news of the week.
Wow.
All right, it's that time of the week where we give the love back to the people who gave it to us. We got a lot of new subscribers this week. We're almost at 800. We're so close to 800, I can smell it.
So close.
Yeah.
Share some stuff. Try and get us up there. We'd really appreciate that. But these are the people that subscribe to us this week that also have YouTube channels. They share their subscriptions. If you don't share your subscriptions, we don't know. But we appreciate it. We went and watched some of these, and definitely if they're seem cool to us, if they're along the lines of the things that we're into, we suggest them back to you all. So please go in the description of this video. If you're listening to the audio version, please go over to youtube.com/GCandC, go to the description, subscribe to these people's channels. So the first two that I got this week, I actually met through Coaching for Geeks. Robin over there posted a post where he said, everybody post your projects in here. And a bunch of people had YouTube channels and whatnot, but a couple of them I had a little bit of back and forth with about what we do and kind of some similar channels. So I'm going to screw this up. Xee Reiter? I'm sure I messed that up, and I apologize.
Akiyumi?
In Not So Nerdy Nerd.
I like that channel. That was a good channel. Not so nerdy nerd.
Yeah, she covers a lot.
Did
of
a good
the same
review
stuff
on
that we
Stranger
do.
Things. Yeah.
Yep.
Got In Good Nick.
All right. Infraworld Gaming Cinema and Mandy Cane Lane.
Good job, Dirk. And I have a Responde 433. I hope I said that right. And Games Like Forever. That's how I read.
That's funny. All right, so every week, if you don't watch the show, we pick a name of the week based on nothing other than just the names alone. It's a prestigious award that many people have gone down in history. It's kind of like the Stanley Cup where you get your name on it and it never goes away.
Every week? Yeah.
Wow.
What do you guys got?
I'm going Mandy Cane Lane.
Yeah, I like Mandy Cane Lane. I just like the way it.
Yeah, you do.
It makes me think of Candyland or something like that.
Yeah. Almost.
I'm gonna go
Not
with
so
the
nerdy nerd.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Not So Nerdy Nerd also.
Oh, we're split.
Yeah, we got.
That
we
was
got
a
split.
second
So
place
it's
for
a
me.
tie.
It was a close decision between the
Split
two.
the trophy.
Yeah, you both win this week. Our first place. Congratulations. It's quite the honor.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching, everybody. We're about to go into our Justice League Spectacular, which is full spoilers. So if you have not watched Justice League and you care about spoilers, this will be the end of the show for you. Thank you very much for watching. Just want to say next week we're going to finally return to the Comic Book Club with Star Wars number 38. So please read up on that, and we'll talk about that one next week. Other than that, please go to our website, check out all of our fun, all of our social media stuff's listed there. It's gamescomicsandculture.wordpress.com.
Yeah. We're on Twitter at GCandC.
I'll do my Blinsky. Support us at patreon.com/GCandC.
God. Thank you to Fred Thomas for our opening news and Xee Reiter for our logo.
Thanks, everybody. So, yeah, here we go. Into Justice League full spoilers conversation. If you're taking off, this has been Comically Gaming, episode 79. Thank you very much. We love you.
Booyah.
Later.
All right, welcome to the Justice League Spectacular. Or
Spectacular.
maybe not so spectacular, depending on your point of view around here. As usual, for our movie content, we got Casey joining us. Casey, how you doing?
What's up? Excited to talk
What's up,
some
Casey?
Justice League.
Yeah, right. Let's do
No
it.
Kryptonians, no lanterns.
So let's go around the horn. Let's just discuss overall impressions. Dirk hasn't seen it. He's just hanging out.
Taking notes.
Taking notes, right?
Oh.
So I have to say my impression was the movie exceeded my expectations. Still not great, but I thought this was the best DC movie since Man of Steel. to my mind, Marvel is kind of in the spot where they're doing something special now that I never thought we'd see. And there was a point where I go see a superhero movie, and I'm just going for the special effects. I don't care about the story. And when in the past few DC movies, to me, even failed at that, I still walked out of the theater mad about certain things of the movie. With this, again, I got some gripes about the story. I got some gripes about the villain, but overall, I thought that this was it was a passable superhero movie, and we haven't seen that in a DC movie in a while. Jeff?
Agreed. I agree. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best one I've seen for DC, but it was one of the better DC movies in a long time.
You like Suicide Squad? Which one do you like better?
See, I like Suicide Squad because of Margot Robbie. That's the only reason why I like.
Get your pants on.
But this one was better than Suicide Squad. Yeah, there were some glaring issues with some of the story and the villain. And it also being a Frankenstein movie torn between two directors' visions. I think that Joss Whedon did the best he could do with what he had.
Was that evident? Was it evident?
Yeah, it was very evident, yeah.
Casey?
Yeah, I didn't notice the change too much, except for there was a few moments where characters in the Justice League would talk to each other in a way where I knew Whedon had thought, what would it really be like? Like, what would the Flash really say to Wonder Woman in this certain scenario? And that made me feel like I was watching Avengers with the Justice League, which was good, in a good way. I liked the movie overall. I thought it was a pretty fun experience. There are so many holes, and the reasoning behind the villain, behind these mother boxes, this like MacGuffin he has to collect and stuff. But the visual effects, I heard going in, they weren't quite polished as much as we would have hoped in 2017 for a movie that's, I don't know, like the first time the fucking Justice League has been on the big screen. But I went in kind of with hesitation and optimism at the same time, and I had a fun time. The good outweighed the bad for me. I want to see more of these characters. All the characters were good. The story was very kind of cut and dry. And spoiler alert, Superman's revival, if you will, was amazing. And I got to see something I've wanted to see ever since I played DC Universe Online, and they had the little, scene before the game starts with pissed off Superman. Always wanted to see a pissed off Superman. I got me a pissed off Superman, so I was
totally. Corey?
Yeah. I wasn't a big fan. I thought it was pretty boring. Too much time getting the team together. Not enough. I mean, it was like an hour and 45 minutes of getting the team together and 15 minutes of fighting the villain. I thought the villain sucked. Didn't really like Aquaman. Didn't really like the Flash that much. I liked Wonder Woman. Batman was alright. Superman was cool, I guess. But
I guess.
I mean, I thought it had a good. It had its moments, but overall, I wasn't that impressed. Nothing that really got me pumped. Like when I was watching Thor, I felt like I was honestly having like a good time, and I was like, man, this is such a great movie. Like I was laughing. I was like, this is badass, and like I never had that feeling watching the Justice League. I don't know. It just I don't know if it was the mood I was in or what, but I wasn't too impressed overall.
Gotcha. All right.
Too bad.
So we'll kind of split the movie up for discussion's sake. Let's talk about basically the first most of the movie, where the introductions to the characters and the team ups and getting the crew together and whatnot. I thought I got to disagree to some extent, Corey. I loved the opening scenes. I really liked that first scene with Batman. It reminded me a lot of the scene in Batman versus Superman where the cops are walking through the warehouse and he's hiding up in the corner. Like it made Batman seem scary.
Right, but I missed that. I went in a few minutes late. Like as I walked in, he had the guy hanging off the building.
Right.
So.
I really love that. I loved Diana's opening scene with the guys trying to blow up that building and whatnot. I thought that
love
was
Wonder
great.
Woman's opening scene.
Yeah, and then I really liked the Amazon scene where they're trying to get the cube away from Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf.
I thought that was great. It was action packed. It was the chase scene going on the horses, and all the Amazons are such badasses fighting everybody. Like, really enjoyed that. I thought it opened it up in a way that got me pumped, as opposed to the past few movies or whatnot, which that wasn't the case. Unlike you, Corey, I really liked the Flash. I thought he was great in this. I especially after watching that CW show for a while, I thought this depiction of the Flash was much better.
Spot on, I thought.
I just felt like I saw all his funny moments in the previews. But...
That is true. That is, but I felt like there was more than that actually. But and then I didn't. The only person I didn't like was Aquaman. I feel like I feel like Jason. What's his last name?
Momoa.
I feel like he's a shitty actor. Like the most.
He still knows Dothraki.
His dialogue came across pretty bad. The one scene when he was sitting on the truth lasso was good, but other than that, not so much. And it was weird that they didn't say Mira's name, because she was clearly, that was her, right?
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah, right. So weird that they didn't go into that at all for how much they went into other things. But yeah, to me that was the best part of the movie was the team up. I liked all the characters and I liked how they got together. I liked Bruce pulling them all together and the kind of dynamic where Bruce has no superpowers, but he's kind of the leader of the team, And the one last thing that I'll say is that they did a great job with Wonder Woman. I don't know if they came in later because Wonder Woman was so successful and gave her a stronger role in this, but
I think so.
She was the real leader without Superman, right? Like Batman was getting them all together, but she was the real badass of the team at that point. So I thought it was good, and just kind of her struggle of not wanting to be the leader or whatever it was, you know what I mean? And Batman pushing her into it. I thought it was, thought it was good. Jeff, what do you got?
I still don't like Ben Affleck as Batman. I really don't.
You're about to get a change, probably.
Either Ben Affleck.
Right.
But so I didn't like Batman. The intro to Batman was fine. I think I noticed that one of the executive producers and consults was Christopher Nolan, and so I think he had a lot of influence on introducing Batman more as the Dark Knight that we saw in those movies. Aquaman was kind of flat. He was pretty flat, and I didn't really find the association with finding him in some bar in Iceland, and then these old depictions of the cubes on this wall, and he doesn't know anything about it. He is a very flat actor. But I loved Wonder Woman, and I do think that with the success of the masses liking the Wonder Woman movie, that she did get a stronger role in this movie. She did better when she's not the lead character in a movie, and she played more of a supporting actress, but became the leader at the end through the guidance of Ben I Can Act. The Flash, I agree with you, Nate, on The Flash. I've watched some of the CW shows with The Flash and watched Arrow, and I liked the character of Barry Allen. I really did. I loved his humor.
In Arrow, or in The Flash, they're so kind of like brooding, and they've always got all this. I don't know. It's depressing watching them. And this, the way that he was weirdo, but he is upbeat. I like
sort of the equivalent of Spider-Man, right? That's what he's supposed to be. So.
Yeah.
He's a fanboy, just like Spider-Man: Homecoming. Yeah.
And then Cyborg, I don't know that much about Cyborg. I felt that they should have done more with him.
Yeah, that's who I was most curious about.
And I felt that the CGI for Cyborg was a little unpolished until the very end.
CGI Borg.
Yeah, he should have been in that. I did love the booyah. If
Yeah.
anybody else watches Teen Titans,
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
awesome
good.
that they threw that in there.
And then Return of Superman, I like seeing that other side of Superman. I thought that after they brought him back to life, him going back to Smallville was not necessary, I don't think,
Agreed.
for the story. I thought that was taken away, and I think that was from the original director's vision. Because of some of the slowness, I thought was from the original director, and I can't remember his name. Someone will probably...
Zack
There you
Snyder.
go.
Yeah.
And but as Casey said, I think that Joss Whedon did a great job in bringing some of the humor that's as part of his quirkiness as a director into the film to try and save it.
Yep.
And the
Casey?
villain was terrible.
Sorry. We'll do the villain next. Casey, what do you got?
Okay, so I liked the intro. I liked Batman being Batman on the rooftop with the villain. That was great. I liked that he was using the fear to lure in the scout parademon. Very cool shit. Wonder Woman's intro bank scene. I watched it with a fuck ton of nerds, and we had a blast watching that scene. Like when he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna spray across all these dudes," and she's just like basically breakdancing across all of them with her with her gauntlets, like blocking all the shots. People were cheering their asses off. Like that was just such a great, fun moment. I like that it kind of comes full circle later with her revealing herself. That was kind of the hopeful ending that was parallels to her film. But as far as Aquaman, I could see where some people wouldn't like his character. He's kind of just like a drunk rock star uncle, which was, I thought it was fun. I mean, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see someone who's very fun. And I feel like each one of the Justice League members have sort of a Marvel parallel that they are sort of structured after. Batman obviously is like the street level fighter, like a Hawkeye or something, but he's got the money like Tony Stark. Then Cyborg straight up flies and shoots and does everything just like an Iron Man suit and hacks into shit just like Jarvis. Then you got fanboy Flash over here acting like Spider-Man Homecoming, and you got Aquaman doing his best Thor impression. So I felt like it was really Wonder Woman who was like the Cap role, Shield and everything, kind of fulfilling like the mature slot where they're making the hard decisions and kind of wrangling all these egos together, because she doesn't really have one. She's pretty awesome about that. I liked them all coming together. I liked that the only one that was Flash, but I felt like it was a missed opportunity having him be the second introduction after Aquaman. If they had Aquaman, he says no. Cyborg, he says no. And then Flash was like immediately like easy to convince. That would have worked better for me,
Sure.
I felt like.
Yeah.
Just, the comedic rule of three or whatever. But I felt like all the characters were pretty well fleshed out. Cyborg, actually, I went in like, I don't care about Cyborg because I like Martian Manhunter's Justice League version better. And so I went in kind of expecting him to be a dud. But I was like, if they nail the other characters that I actually care about, I'll be fine. But I was pleasantly surprised with the actor and the relationship with his father and the way that he was kind of like the Hulk, because he felt like he was a monster and he couldn't control his powers yet. So I liked that take on it, and I felt like they did the best job they could with him as far as the introduction. So
Corey?
Reminds me of Deathlock too, a little bit.
a little bit, yeah.
So Wonder Woman, I thought she was totally awesome. Her intro was great. Aquaman, I guess I wish this hadn't been Aquaman, The Flash, and Cyborg's first movie. Like, I wish they had their own movie before this. Like, because I hate I don't know, it just seemed like all their intros were too short to really get to know them that well, and too long to where it took up the whole movie. Aquaman's story is he just visits this one small fish town once a year and drinks some liquor and brings them, some fish.
Yeah,
and
then,
then
sorry to interrupt, but when he goes home, this is the Aquaman where he's not the king yet. And you know what I mean? He's still the outcast and whatnot. So hopefully his movie fleshes that out. But you're right. That should have been first.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have him with a chip on his shoulder before he gets the crown. Like, it makes sense for his film.
Namor.
And then, it's not that I guess that I disliked the Flash and Cyborg. I just wasn't really a big fan of each character gets 15 minutes. They were all cool, but it's just I felt like I didn't know the characters enough to really care too much about them, and when they came out, I mean, all the Flash scenes are cool. It was awesome when he caught the Batarang. I had already seen that, and it is cool. He's the fanboy, I like his attitude, and Cyborg was cool with his thing with his dad, and the cube somehow had something to do with his power or something. I don't know. Superman, I really didn't. I thought it was stupid that they all had to battle him. Like, I felt like that was forced. I mean, it was a cool battle, but I felt like it was unnecessary that the whole team had to fight Superman first. But yeah, I don't know. Not that I really disliked any of the characters. It's not what. I just not a big fan of each one gets 20 minutes and then that takes up 3/4 of the movie. I'd rather them had their own movie before this and already know all them going into this and just have an hour and a half, 2-hour movie of the whole team doing awesome shit together that I already love.
Sure.
That's not what it was. So that's I guess why I was kind of bored.
Sure. Yeah, I hear you. I got to cheat and throw in 2 other things that I really enjoyed, though, is that the scene when, 2 different scenes. So the scene when they showed the olden day battle against Steppenwolf, and you had the Green Lanterns, and you had Hercules and all these guys in there.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Shazam.
Yeah, Shazam, right? Yeah,
Shazam.
he was. Yeah, that was. It was
Nice.
like one thing after another. I was just like, whoa! Like I didn't expect that to be.
I
in
looked
that
over at my
movie.
girl like 3 times. We were like,
Yeah.
oh my god, did you see that?
Exactly. Yeah, and then in the Superman fight, the moment when Barry's running behind him and his eyes move, and
Yeah.
Barry
Yeah.
realizes that Superman
You can see him.
see him.
is in the same plane as he is.
Yeah,
that
I
was
think
cool.
Just pulled that off so excellent.
He's like,
That was
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah.
That was one of the best uses of CGI they did in that movie.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great. And then,
Yeah, that was awesome.
and the one thing we all keep on saying is that that these are all kind of copying their Marvel counterpoints, and it's funny because these characters are older, right? Like
not the movie version though, because
Correct.
most of them haven't been in a movie yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Right.
Yep.
Which is
All right, so-
ridiculous. We got to talk
in the
about
context of the
Raccoon before
film.
we got Wonder Woman, but whatever.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. That's crazy.
True.
I wonder if they took a leap of faith with doing the Wonder Woman movie, but then held back doing Cyborg, Aquaman, and the Flash movies because they weren't sure how well they would do. I think you're going to see those come out now after this movie.
They're
Right.
just racing to catch up. They're trying to rush the whole process. Marvel gave
Yeah.
it like 4 years before Avengers.
Right.
They did
Right.
like a year and a half.
Yep.
Yep. All right. So we'll
True.
move on. I'll try and keep my part brief here, but
Oh,
let's
hey,
talk-
also
Yeah.
before we go any further, I saw like a mashup of like if Marvel had done what DC did, and it was like the first movie was Captain America 1, the second movie was Civil War, the third movie was Guardians of the Galaxy, and the fourth movie was Avengers.
Right.
That is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Totally. Yeah, so we'll talk about like in we all kind of don't like him, and then the final part of the movie and whatnot, the big battle again. I think
Brilliant.
that,
What's his name? Steppenwolf.
Yeah,
Right.
take you on
So-
magic carpet ride, buddy.
so yeah, really weird to me. DC has the best villains, so why is
think it's-
this villain that I
They
never
pick, no?
heard of
Yeah.
Yeah.
the antagonist in this movie? It just drove me nuts that was the case.
Because he's working for Darkseid, and they want to work to Darkseid just like Marvel worked to Thanos. So,
Right,
Yeah.
right. But they rushed everything else. They should have just went straight to Darkseid. And so he was he was okay. Obviously, you need somebody with some great powers to actually go against a group like this. But it was just the whole thing, like you say, was rushed. We're comparing this to the Marvel movies. We've spent 10 years following these Infinity Stones, following Thanos, and seeing everybody's side stories along the way that is leading up to this thing. that has a lot of weight to it now. Whereas this, just throwing these cubes together that you never heard of before,
Yeah.
with a villain that
Right.
you never
Yeah,
heard
Yeah,
of
what the
before.
fuck are them other cubes?
Yeah, it was a big disappointment. You know, to me, the things that I liked about this movie were the little things, the little conversations, the like I say, those couple of scenes and whatnot. But the actual, it just ended up being superheroes fight an alien invasion again in a generic one, and it wasn't, you know, it just didn't do anything for me. And then, you know, just I would say at the end, you know, there were some cute scenes. Again, particularly the Superman Flash stuff. You know, their competition with each other is the stuff that you would always want to see, and it was great after the Flash saved the pickup truck full of people. And
Yeah,
then
that
Superman comes
Superman's
over with the gigantic building. that was great. But yeah, so you know, it was mediocre ending to something that started really strong for me, and again, the kind of interactions between the characters in between it made it passable to me, but only passable, you know.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Jeff?
Yeah, as you said, I mean, Steppenwolf was a terrible. He was a terrible antagonist because I didn't know who he was, and I thought the name was not well thought out. I was like, if someone was listening, you know, Magic Carpet Ride, and said that's a great name for a villain. But the cubes, I was like, what are these cubes, and why? If they've been around for 5,000 years, and Superman was only on planet Earth for 35 years, and then he dies, and now they wake up, what stopped them from waking up the other, you know, 4,000 plus years? And, you know, what that was a really weak plot line to say that because Superman died, the cubes all of a sudden became active, you know. And two of them, one was in Atlantis, one was with the Amazonians, but then the third one was buried, but you don't ever see it unburied. It just showed up in that ship, the Kryptonian ship, all of a sudden. So,
Well, they said they found it in World War I or something like that.
oh, did they? I must have
Yeah,
missed. I had to pee really bad through half the So, but yeah, I didn't like the villain. I didn't. They could have done a lot better job.
He's from 1972, I just read.
Oh, really?
That's when he was made. Yeah, first
Before
appearance.
we were all born.
But again, think of all the great DC villains.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
going to pick that one
Yeah.
instead. All right, Casey.
Right.
Okay, yeah, Steppenwolf was voiced by the dude that plays Mance Rayder in Game of Thrones, so I was excited about like the voice having a bit of gravitas and stuff. But I will say this about the DC universe so far: out of 4 movies, we've had really one great villain, and it was Zod, because he was the only one played by a fucking human being. Enchantress and her CGI fucking brother. Then in this movie, we get a giant CGI monster. What do we get in Batman vs. Superman? Oh yeah, a giant CGI fucking monster. It's like no wonder no one cares about these fucking villains, because even the ones we do know, like Doomsday, A, don't look right, and B, they're just giant CGI blobs of garbage. Like no one cares. Like you know they're gonna die anyway. It's just like get rid of them. It's really hard to judge the movie based on the villain, because in like the boom tubes or mother boxes, whatever they want to call them, they were really stupid in my opinion, because as cool as the scene was when he goes to Themyscira or whatever to get them from the Amazonians, he got that one from this amazing warrior race like that. He got the one from the frickin' Atlanteans in their vault room like that. And then when they showed it being buried by the human race somewhere in Russia or something, it was buried like a shallow fucking grave. Like, it was like 4 feet deep. And they're like, man, that's good enough to keep like the most powerful thing in the cosmos away from the villain. And then, you know, when it's there in the lab that creates Cyborg, he goes and collects with like the parademons, all those like the janitor and shit, and he's like interrogating. He's like, "Where the fuck is it?" I'm like, "Dude, if you went one room to the left, like that lab, you would have found the other one." Like, I thought they could smell it and stuff. Like, I don't know. That didn't make sense to me. And like some of the smirks they gave his face was so eye rolly. Like I was just like, "Come on, give me a fucking break." But I did think that the power they gave him was cool, because you saw immediately when they went toe to toe. The Justice League versus him, that he could overpower them pretty easily, and which was important because later when you get pissed off Superman, he also overpowers them pretty easily. So after watching this guy beat the shit out of a bunch of heroes I like, and then having Superman literally do like the Hulk Loki move on him, basically just like treat him like a fucking ragdoll, that made my day. I like when he comes back and he's like, "Is this guy still fucking bothering you?" He just like slams on the ground, stands over him, all imposing, just eye beaming him to death. I was like, dude, this guy's getting the business.
Yeah.
And the best thing they did, because I was wondering who was going to get the killing blow, because they seem to kill a lot of these villains too. But they didn't. They had like the Parademons smell his fear once they destroyed, which was also really a cool use of the frost breath, which is very cheesy in the old movie.
Agreed.
But when he destroyed the axe, and then they smell Steppenwolf's fear and like terrorize him and take him back away, that was a great way to end his little arc. I thought that was really cool, because it also mirrored that cutback that Nate was referencing with the lanterns and stuff, because when he like lost, they had to like tear him away from the fight, and they said it made him crazy and shit. So I like the ending quite a bit, even though like some characters I thought would have more of an impact, like Cyborg and Aquaman, just kind of were by the wayside a little bit, and it was really just like, hey, let's just bide our time until Superman beats the piss out of this guy. So.
As usual, Casey totally changes my opinion. Like I agree with everything you just said there, and I was just saying I wasn't down with the ending. Yeah. Corey?
Hey, well, Casey.
The curse returns. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, the cubes are stupid. Never heard of them before, and I wasn't a big fan of the cubes. I didn't like the villain either. I did like his. I just didn't like that I didn't know him. I did like you said, his power was cool. It was cool seeing him fight and everything. I just felt like in the final battle it was just really predictable. We were just waiting for Superman to show up. It was cool watching everybody. I thought it was a good battle. It was fun to watch. I just felt like it was predictable. We were just waiting for Superman, and then Superman got there and kicked ass. And yeah, that was, I guess, what I thought of it.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so as usual, we've gone super long. Let's
imagine that.
Yeah, let's give our scores out of 10. No points. 1 to 10.
No cigarettes.
I'm gonna go with a 7 myself. Best DC movie since Man of Steel.
I'm gonna go with 7.5.
No halves.
No halves.
No, 7 or 8.
You gotta round it up.
That's a fraction, not a
point.
decimal.
I'll give it an 8.
All right, 8.
It's an 8.
Hey,
Dang, Jeff.
Casey.
that's a really good movie.
I'm just gonna say one last thing. I didn't like that there was like no parademon fight. I really wanted them all to fight like the parademons like in a circle or something like Avengers where they're fighting the Chitauri. Like we didn't really get to see them do that for more than like 5 seconds each.
Yeah, the battle was way too short.
I know. Like I really was hoping they get cornered and then Superman would come to help them with like a big blast of his eye beams and just like draw a giant line or something. Like that would have been amazing. But whatever. Anyway, that would have made an 8 for me. So I'll give it a 7 as well.
All right,
Yeah.
Corey.
5.
5. Wow.
There you go.
All right, cool.
Golf Story's an 8.
All right, so checking in on the Facebook group, reached out to them earlier today. Go to Facebook, search Games, Comics, and Culture, join up in the conversations we're having all week long. It's a lot of fun.
I'll let you in.
Yeah, Jeff is our admin. He'll let you in. Just the couple comments here that we had. It was funny. So first of all, one Mr. Kent Closter, Patreon supporter, popped in here, said the movie exceeded my expectations, which were admittedly low. Unlike the women in my life, I hate the new Aquaman. Looks nothing like Aquaman and acts nothing like Aquaman would act. Flash and Cyborg were cool, though, and of course Wonder Woman. My buddy Francisco hopped in afterwards and said, "Preach, Mr. Closter." And then Jeremy, who you might know from our Rogue One Spectacular, he jumped in and said it was worth the $5.36 that I paid for it. Wonder Woman was the best thing about it, like she was in Batman vs. Superman, and Flash was pretty funny. Aquaman was different but fine. Cyborg's suit was really distracting as it looked way too CG. The one he changes into at the end was better. He also says, I like Affleck as Batman, and I like him as Bruce Wayne. I just haven't really liked the stories that he's been in. So, Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. And I agree with all of them. Corey doesn't. But everybody
I
else.
disagree with Affleck.
All right.
Affleck. Exactly.
It's been Comically Gaming, episode 79. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks, Casey, once
Thanks,
again.
Casey.
Thanks, Casey.
We'll
was
see you in a
awesome,
couple
guys. Thanks
weeks
for having
for
me.
the what is sure to be the greatest movie of the year.
Last Jedi.
You gonna be there? Yeah. Okay. All right. Good deal.
Dun-dun-dun.
Everybody else, thanks for watching.
Woo!
Yeah.
Peace.
Later.
Woo.
Later.